So how do you turn that dreaded walk, which is what it is for most people, into the most enjoyable part of your day? So what is the answer to achieve a loose lead walk? I'm going to show you 3 simple steps to turn this extreme puller into an enjoyable, relaxing, loose lead walk. Listen out for the end for the bonus tip, which 90% of dog owners forget to do. So before I show you a few live demos, let's talk about correction. So we want to be able to effectively communicate to our dog and let them know that pulling on the lead is simply unacceptable. The best dog training tool is the slip lead. It allows us to effectively communicate with our dog. So how do you use the slip lead correctly? Put it on nice and high, nice and snug behind the ears and underneath the chin. Use the stopper to make it nice and snug so it won't slip down. Now a good tip is think of it as part of your dog. It's connected to your dog. So if you're holding it tense, that dog is going to usually feel that. So what you want to be is nice and relaxed, hold it loosely so that dog can also feel relaxed. Step 1 is what I call an engagement drill. So we want to get your dog engaged with you as much as possible, because obviously they're pulling because they're too busy with what's going on in their environment. So you need to be the most important thing in their life and on their walk. I do this engagement drill every single time we go out on a lead walk. Now start in a low distraction environment. For example, this empty field here where there's not too much going on, so your dog's not going to be running after any other dogs or any other people. So we're not looking for a show hill or anything too special. We're just looking for that nice relaxed lead and watching her engage with us. I presume your dog is a pretty bad puller. So what will happen is as soon as you probably take 1 or 2 steps, they will already be at the end of the lead. When your dog gets to the end of the lead, you want to give them a pop on the lead. Now it's not a pull, it's just a quick pop. It's almost like a tap on the shoulder to be like, hey, pay attention to me. This is what we're doing. So don't rush, just take a few steps in one direction and then turn the other way, give them a little pop and walk back the other direction. It's what we call U-turns. So this is outside U-turns. So you want to turn away from your dog. So whatever side they're on, it doesn't really matter. You want to turn away from them. Let's go. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. Let's go. Good. And just do this for as long as it takes for your dog to just calm down a little bit and start focusing on you. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. So another important tip is start to make your walks a little bit more unpredictable. For example, if we're just walking in a straight line, your dog is going to keep pulling till the end of that line because they know where they're going. So every so often, just go the other way. No, we're going this way. And then can go back in our direction when your dog is in that desired position. Now, the next stage to this engagement tune-up process is to start doing some inside turns. Now, when we talked about outside turns, we're going away from our dog. Inside turn is going into our dog. Now, what that does is naturally put your dog behind you because any moment you could cut across their path like this. So, for example, we'll try it again. So, any moment we're cutting across her, there we go. As you can see, she's starting to almost set in that position behind me now. So again, you can take it to the next step by mixing it up, going inside, outside, inside, and you can kind of almost keep going back and forth. Now you might look like an idiot, but look how perfect this dog is starting to walk on the lead. And by doing this, as you can see, she's constantly looking at me, constantly having to check in where I am and where I'm going. Start to be aware that if your dog steps in front of you, then we need to correct that too. The way I think about this is imagine there's a road right in front of us. If that dog steps in front of us, she could potentially get run over. It's a bit extreme, but obviously it can definitely happen if your dog is an extreme puller and steps in front of you. Who knows what could be in front of your feet. So to do this, when we're doing our engagement tune-up, we can also mix in some start and stops in there. I'll give you an example. So we're walking and we just stop. So to begin with, you might want to do 1 or 2 steps, get your dog coming to a dead stop. So after correcting your dog and letting know what they're doing is wrong, we can move into step 2, luring your dog into heel. How to get your dog into the heel position. Start in the garden or a low distraction environment. We're going to use the trusty old slip lead and just hold it with our right hands, just so we can reward with treats on the left side so we don't have to reach over. So using high value treats or even your dog's breakfast, whether that's kibble or raw. As you can see, my hand is pretty much glued to my side and you can start to lure your dog into that position, but be careful not to reward your dog when they're in front of you. You can also use the lead to adjust their position too. Now make it fun and entertaining for your dog. Change the tempo. Do this every day for about 10 minutes and trust me, you'll get results. Step 3 and the final step is reinforcement. So we've introduced the correction phase and obviously let our dog know when they're doing wrong, but we need to introduce reinforcement to let them know when they're doing the right thing. So that is pretty simple. So we've already got them in a pretty good loose lead. So this in itself, by not popping the lead, is reinforcement. But we can add a step further to that and just praise them. Praise them as much as you can. So when she comes this way, yes, good girl, good girl. Come on, this way. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. So when she turns around, when I ask her to, we can give her plenty of praise. Good girl. Good girl. And praise is verbally praise, physical praise. So give her lots of fuss. Good girl. Yes, good girl. And we can also obviously give them treats as well. And the bonus tip, what you've all been waiting for, and that's simply to let your dog blow off some steam before doing this training session, especially if they're an absolute nutcase and they're just not listening to you. Maybe use a harness or use a long line. Try not to use a slip lead, as they'll probably get used to pulling on that. So use something where they can have that freedom and then do your training session.